All right, today we're diving into some pretty shadowy territory as we break down the key ideas from Daniel Long's work, How to Analyze People with Dark Psychology. It's a really fascinating and, yeah, let's be honest, a kinda chilling topic.
And you know, this isn't just one book we're talking about. It's a huge 8-in-1 guide. So we're going to be pulling out the core ideas on everything from manipulation and gaslighting to the secrets of persuasion. It's a really deep dive into the art of influence and, just as importantly, defense.
But hold on a second. Dark psychology. That's a pretty heavy term, right? It definitely grabs your attention. So before we get into anything else, we've got to ask the big question here, to really understand what we're dealing with.
So here's our roadmap. First, we'll get a clear definition of what dark psychology even is. Then we'll look at the personality types the book says you should watch out for, and the actual tactics they use. After that, and this is the really important part, we'll cover how you can defend yourself. And we'll wrap it all up by looking at a bigger question. Could this knowledge actually be used for good?
All right, first things first. Let's get to the bottom of this. What exactly does the author mean when he uses the term dark psychology?
So when you boil it all down, the book says dark psychology is really a specific kind of manipulation. We're not just talking about regular influence here. This is about someone digging into those deep-seated fears, the anxieties we all have, and using them for their own personal gain.
And the book draws a really clear line in the sand here. See, normal psychology is all about understanding why we tick the way we do. But dark psychology? Well, that's about grabbing the controls and making people tick the way you want them to. It's a huge shift from just observing to actively controlling.
Okay, so if those are the tools, who's actually using them? The book gets into some specific personality types that you really need to be on the lookout for.
Now this is super important. The book points out a huge difference between two words we kind of throw around a lot, sociopath and psychopath, and it all boils down to one thing, empathy. So a sociopath, they might actually have a conscience, they just choose to ignore it. But a psychopath, well, the book describes them as having zero capacity for guilt or remorse. It's just not there, which, according to the author, means they can't really be rehabilitated. So how would you even spot this in day-to-day life? And look, the book is really clear. This isn't about you playing armchair psychologist and diagnosing people. No, it's about spotting a pattern of behavior. That charm that feels a little too good to be true? The fact that everything always comes back to them? Or how they seem to treat people like objects, just pieces in their own personal chess game? That's what we're talking about.
Okay, seeing those signs is one thing, but it immediately raises a huge question. What do you actually do about it? What's the next step? And that leads us right into the manipulator's bag of tricks, and, most importantly, how to build your defense.
All right, let's open up this so-called manipulator's toolkit. What are the actual tactics the book says they're using to get inside your head and take control?
What's interesting is that the book presents this as a step-by-step process, not just a one-off thing. So, step 1, they find your weak spots. Step 2, they hit you with a wave of negativity and fear to get you off balance. Then they start planting ideas, making you think they're your own. After that, they might try to create this us versus them divide. And the final move? Shifting the blame, so nothing is ever their fault.
And here's a phrase the book flags as a giant red flag. A total classic non-apology. It's a perfect example of blame shifting. Just listen to it. They're not sorry for what they did. They're sorry that you think they did something wrong. See what's happening? They're flipping it around, making you question if you're the one who's overreacting.
So here's the toxic 1-2 punch. Gaslighting messes with your head, making you doubt your own reality. And blame shifting? That's about them handing you their guilt and making you carry it. Either way, the goal is the same: warp reality to suit them.
Okay, enough about the problem. This is probably the part you've been waiting for, the solution. How do you actually defend yourself? Because the book doesn't just leave you hanging. It gives you a real playbook for building your mental shield.
And the book's #1 rule is, don't engage. Seriously, don't even try to argue. The author says that trying to reason with someone who's dead set on manipulating you is a losing battle. It's like throwing fuel on a fire. You're just handing them more material to twist and use against you. So here's the 4-step defense plan from the book.
First, you got to recognize the signs we just talked about. Second, you have to detach, get some emotional distance, and if you need to, some physical distance too. Third, and this is absolutely critical, you have to set clear, firm boundaries. And finally, for people who maybe aren't truly malicious, the book says you can try appealing to their compassionate side, but you have to do it with extreme caution and be ready to bail if it doesn't work.
When you get right down to it, the book says your best defense is just plain old self-respect. It's about drawing a line in the sand and making it crystal clear that you will not tolerate being treated that way. That unwavering stance, that's your best armor.
And this brings us to a really fascinating final point. The author kind of zooms out and asks a bigger question about all this knowledge we're gaining. Is just knowing about this stuff bad?
And the answer the book gives is pretty surprising. It suggests that these dark tendencies aren't some weird alien thing. They're actually a part of our natural human instincts that can be pointed in a positive direction or a negative one.
It's really like two sides of the same coin, you know? The exact same skills you could use to manipulate someone could also be used to understand them better and build a stronger relationship. It's the difference between seeking power over someone versus helping to empower them. According to the book, what really matters is the why behind it all, your intention.
So in the end, the book leaves us with this powerful idea to think about. Just by learning this stuff, the game has already changed. The power isn't just with the manipulator anymore. Now it's also with you. And the real question is, what are you going to do with it?